Okay, here it goes. So this is experiment number 1. I'm trying out videoing some of my paintings, mainly for my classes, because I know that people do get more out of actually seeing, I get a lot more out of seeing how people paint, but I don't want to take up people's time in the classes when they could be painting. So I thought we'd try videoing me doing things at home, and then I can put them up on the blog and then people can watch them. It's been very much a trial so far, so we'll see how this goes. So to the painting. This is also an experiment. At the last class we decided that we would do flowers for the next session, and flowers have been my nemesis for quite a while. They are extraordinarily difficult to paint. They're very, very subtle. They feel as though they should be easy, but they're not. You've got to get the colours right, you've got to get the shapes right, you've got to lose the edges. There's a lot of very high chroma, but there's a lot of very, very subtle value changes to get the changes in the petals. So this one hasn't come out too bad, I have to say. I'm fairly pleased with it. I went very tentatively in the beginning, so this has had quite a few layers on it, and here's the reference. So I haven't done too bad a job here. When I'd finished last night, I put them side by side, and I realised I've lost some colour in here, and there's some depth in here I've lost. So I'm going to try now. Oh, and this could ruin the whole thing. Who knows? Putting a wash of very light peach colour over maybe the whole of the flower, and then blending it out to nothing at the edges to see if we can get some depth in here. What I'm worried about doing is losing these lovely white curled over petal edges, but I think it's worth a shot. Before that, I'm going to try and remove some of the pencil lines. I don't mind pencil lines in paintings. I like to see the whole process of how the painting was put together, but in flowers somehow they're a bit intrusive. So I'm going to try and erase some of these, and of course I can't. Oh, hang on, it's over here. All right, I've lost my kneadable eraser, so I'm just going to try and remove some of these lines. Oh, that's not too bad. That's working quite well. Sometimes you put pencil on, and when you paint over it, it kind of sets it and you can't lift it up again, but these aren't too bad. All right. I wouldn't usually do this. This is kind of an experiment. I never intended this to be a finished painting, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of these in the coming days and weeks, and I hope to video some of them, and I hope not to. Well, I hope one, I'll get better at it, and I hope to produce a good painting at some point. So yeah, I think that is looking better. As I said before, flowers are so delicate, the petals are so delicate that the pencil lines are intrusive, and they add notes that I don't really want in here. All right, how are we looking? Does that look better? Yeah, I think it does. Right. Some of them aren't coming up, but most are. Good. All right. So as an experiment, this is almost done. Most of the things I wanted to put in, I think, have been okay. I've kept the whites nice and white. The chroma is nice and high. It probably could be higher in the depths of the flower. You can see here it's really rich red in the photo. Or rich, what is that, sort of peach orange colour. I put the shadows on the petals on the outside as very pale violet, and I think that's worked quite well. One thing I did right at the end was I lost some edges. Just went in and scrubbed with water to soften out some of these edges, which I intentionally didn't do. I kept all my edges as I was going through, as this was an experiment, and that really made the flower come together. Once I put the wash on, I think we'll try that again and lose some more edges. Right, so let's go. I want to get some more colour in this centerpiece, so we're going to mix up a very pale peach colour. So I'm going to use some vermilion and a little bit, I think this is something like quinacridone rose. It's actually quite orange, so let's put some cadmium orange in there. So I can't show you the palette because we'll deal with that in a minute later. Right, nice and watery. Can I show you this? No, I can't. No, that didn't work. Oh, will I lose? At least I'm worried about losing these whites. Well, we just have to go for it. Okay, very pale. Also, because I'm videoing, I've got the paper very vertical, which I wouldn't normally do. Okay, so it's going to run somewhat. I'm putting water on the outside, so I'm softening the edges. Is that working? I don't know. This is very tough. This is very tough. Let's put some. A little bit of paper towel just to mop up here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I do need some extra colour in that middle. No, I put loads of water on it, so I can't do it. Another thing I'm going to do, I want to tone down this green. It's very pale at the moment. The chroma's very high, and even though it is quite high in the photo, I don't like it very much. So I'm going to try and wash over that with put some pink in here and see how this works to turn this green down. Yeah. This is ever so soft. I'm using really, really light washes. This is Quin Rose again, and it's very, very, very watery. If I were doing this as a proper painting and not an experiment, I wouldn't have made this as green as it is. But I put it in as green because I wanted to put in the darks to bring out the shapes of these petals, because I couldn't really see when I was first painting it how this was working in relation to the edge of the petals, because this was white and this was white and I couldn't see how it was going. So he went in quite early and I didn't really look at the colour. Right, a bit more Quin Rose. I don't know if this is really knocking back the colour very much. Maybe should I punch it up a little more? Okay. Right. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm good. I think I'm good with it. So a little more colour in here. It's still very watery. I'm going to have to get something, a camera on the palette, I think. With watercolour, consistency of the paint is very, very important as to how it ends up looking on the paper. I could go maybe with a bigger brush, which I'm not going to fish out right now. Right, and what I don't want to do is for this pink to drip down over the flower, so let's go quite carefully around here. I'm blending out the edges as well. these edges around here, I don't want them to fight too much with it. This is the centre of the painting, this is the interest, but the contrast between the colour and the white of the paper could be quite distracting, and I don't want it to be. In fact, I rather like this sort of purpley grey down here, which I may put over the whole thing. Okay, just adding a bit of lavender into this quinacridone rose wash. Is that working? I'm going to get up in a minute and step back and see. When you've got a flower at this stage, you can ruin it in a single stroke. You'd think flowers would be quite relaxing to paint, but they're not. They're highly stressful. Right, I'm going to step back and see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm liking this down here. This is pretty yellowy up here, which it is in the reference as well. Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take the white. I'm going to take the white of the paper around the outside down to there. I'm being a bit of a coward actually, because it means whilst I'm doing this, I can't ruin the flower itself. Oops. I was adding in a bit of burnt sienna there to grey down that lavender, but a bit too much. A bit too much. Okay. Let's try. Okay, does that look? I don't know. This is an experiment. This is an experiment. There will be many more flowers in the days to come. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have my better camera up. You see, I'm being too tentative. Oh, it's a balance. It's a balance. You want to be subtle, but you don't want to end up putting nothing down. And I don't want to end up with too many layers either, because then you lose the freshness of the brush strokes. Right, I'm now mixing up a neutral from ultramarine and burnt sienna, which is my favourite combination for neutrals. I'm going to add in a bit of lavender. How's this? Is that too much? I think that's too much. Is that too much? I don't know. Alright, let's try it. Just knock this white back. Leaning back to see what it looks like. I don't know. Could be fine. It doesn't matter. It's only a painting. It's not a matter of life and death. Let's try. Alright, let's put this coat on. It's going to dry lighter than this, which is probably a good thing. Bit more lavender in this. Right. I don't mind the drips, I just don't want it to drip into the flower itself. How's that looking? Quick step back, let's see. Oh, I don't know, I think I might have ruined that. Yeah, I may have ruined that. But never mind. You live and learn. It will dry lighter, so let's just take these hard edges out. Right, okay. So, the centre of that flower is probably dry enough for me to put some colour on. What's left to do on this? I think I want to try putting some more colour in the depths of the rose and see if I can get the chroma higher. This I think needs to go slightly darker. You can see, can you see in here? You can't see in there. Let me put this down here. here, it's dark in the photo and I'm not dark enough, I'm not rich enough. And of course, I could ruin it at any moment, but no pressure. Let's try. So, I used originally quite a lot of burnt sienna for this colour. And I'm going to use some burnt sienna. It is quite red in there. Burnt sienna, some vermilion, and some Quin Rose. I'm going to put, it's highly stressful. Alright. How's this looking? I'm not going to put it everywhere. I'm going to put some colour on, rinse my brush, dry it a little, and then I'm going to smooth out my edges. Yeah, I think there's something. I'm just going to put something to darken over here. So this is more orangey over here, so I'm going to add some little cad orange into the mix. Not quite sure. I haven't quite hit that. I was working yesterday not from a printout but from a photo on a screen, so, and I didn't do any colour swatches or anything like that, which I should have done because it does make things better, but I didn't. Okay, right, I'm going to step back and see what this looks like. Yeah, I think we're good. Right, now I'm going to leave that. I think that's enough for now. I want to try and bring up the rest of these areas to the same level of chroma and try and not make it look like a zebra, because you have big hard colour, white colour, white, which is the thing that makes a rose look like a rose. But if you get it slightly too strident, they just look like stripes painted on. Right, so let's have a go at punching up in here. So this, I put a shadow over this for some reason yesterday. So this needs to punch up. So this is, I'm going to again use my burnt sienna, a bit of vermilion. I don't usually use vermilion. I put vermilion in because I ran out of cad red. And a bit of Quin Rose. There we go. This is slightly lighter in colour, but I'm not going to do that right now. Right, and then this, I'm just right, just a touch of colour. And then again, wash my brush, dry it on a piece of paper towel, then smooth out these edges. Soft edges are always important in watercolour painting, but in flowers they're extraordinarily important. I'm feeling I want to put something in to show that this is actually two petals, and it's this shadow under here, but this shadow under there is so subtle. I'm just going to leave that for now and put the rest of these oranges in. Now, so up here, let's put this one in. Up here, I'm going to use the rest of my mix for that. I haven't quite got the drawing right here, but I don't think that really matters at this stage. Okay. And then this one. So I'm putting all the little dots of colour in first, and then I will go back and soften out some edges. I think that looks very harsh, so we want to soften some of these. I'm actually going to pull this one out over here, there. Then this one goes up here. And I don't know if this is working. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, good grief. Well, that's what you get, isn't it? Oh. How's that looking? Oh, that looks pretty terrible, actually. I'm not sure about that. Tough. I have no idea if you can hear me when I'm standing at the back of the room. I suppose I will find out later on when I look at it. Okay. See, I'm getting to the point where I really ought to stop because I'm going, all right, I'm going to put this little piece in and then punch up that down there. I'm going to try and do something with this shadow underneath that petal, and I think after that I'm going to put the brushes down. Right. Does that work? It's not dark enough. It's not nearly dark enough. Not nearly dark enough. I'm using the point of my brush. I kind of lead with the point of the brush. This isn't actually like the photo, so here it's like I've made mine a lot bigger because it should follow the edge of that petal, which is slightly drawn slightly wrong. I'm just going to soften slightly in here. I want it to read as an edge, but I don't want it to read too harshly. Another step back. How are we looking? I'm getting to the point where I really do need to stop, and I can't help myself. Right, one last thing. It's this shadow under here. It's too bright. However, I have to get it exactly the right value, otherwise it won't read as shadow and will ruin the painting, so no pressure. Right. Now if I look at the photo, it's probably, yeah, I mean it's lavenderish. That's actually quite a, I think that's quite a neutral grey. Have I got my, I haven't got my colour isolator, which is just a piece of card with a hole in, but it's very useful. So let me get one out of my bag. Colour isolator. I think a lot of people are using these days, but I got this from Paul Foxton. Can you see that? Yeah. It's just a piece of very neutral card. I printed out the printer with a hole in it. So yeah, that, and I put it on the photo, it's slightly lighter, but I mean, and you see this is very much lighter. Yeah, well, this is what happens. Right, let's try. I'm using lavender and a little bit of that neutral grey I mixed up just to tone it down a little bit. I want to put it on so this shadow comes out kind of over there. I did try putting it on yesterday, but it was too light. I don't even know if this will register on the camera, but just a little bit in there. Alright, now that looks terrible, but I'm going to go in, wash my brush, dry it on a piece of paper, and pull it across the bottom to soften that edge. And then I'm wondering whether I should soften that other hard edge. Does that read us? I think that's okay. That's okay. See, now I've done that one, I want to go in and do the rest of them, but I feel I really shouldn't. So is there anything else? There's this piece I think should be just little subtle value changes on these pieces. And that's kind of a pinky grey. So I'll use some of my neutral and some of my pinky colour. Let's see if that works. And it kind of comes out from here. So just that. Oh, you see, it's so subtle. Right here. Right, you see, I put this down. It looks hideously hard. There's a lot of water in there, so it'll dry lighter. Okay, maybe I should just test that. See if it does work out. Now, is there anything else? I mean, there's lots I could do, but I don't think I'm going to. Oh, she's the only thing I want to put. I want to put a shadow in there now. Again, this is kind of peachy under there. I'm using a peachy grey, leading with the point. Then I'll soften that edge. Wash my brush, dry it on paper towel, and just pull it around. You see, that looks terrible. I don't know if that's going to work. Just soften it a bit more. It will dry a bit lighter. Right. Okay. Well, I think I'm not going to do any more. I don't think I've ruined it, at least, which is something. And I'm going to call him done. Okay, test over.